credit card debt. It's never been as high as it is now, right? Because everybody's just trying to survive because of the prices and how high they are.
When I walk in and I see a 12-pack of Diet Coke, Sprite, Coke, whatever, $8 for a 12-pack, $7 for a jar of Skippy peanut butter, that is absolutely nuts.
I'll see like a pack of like 6 Belvita crackers or whatever they are. And I'm like, okay, there's 6 of them and it's $7. I'm like, oh, I don't know. This seems like a ripoff to me.
Nobody's okay with paying these prices, but we're forced into being okay with these prices because we have to survive. So, in this one, it's I'll try not to get heated, but we'll be talking about how the price of everything has gotten absolutely insane, especially groceries, right? I know you're one that doesn't necessarily look at prices. You haven't. You kind of just had the luxury to get, like, if you wanted it, you got it.
But now I do.
But now you do,
groceries
because
especially.
There are times where I'm coming in and telling you, like, dude, this costs this much, and it's crazy, right? I know some people who are, in a rural area, it might be less than what we're paying, or it could honestly be more because.
But it's still more than it was in any area.
It is absolutely insane where we're at with prices now, and especially more so where prices were right before COVID, right? 4 years ago. What stuff was at then to now. I remember me and Kevin were talking about housing prices right before COVID, and we're like, man, it's high. Like, stuff's gonna drop. Like, we'll wait till stuff goes down. And now me and him recently were talking, we're like, damn, if only we could go back to that, right? Because prices were so much better. But there are times where we're out grocery shopping, and she looks at me and she's like, before we walk in, and she's like, don't act a fool. Don't make a scene. I'm like, I will only act a scene or make a scene, act a fool, if I'm pushed over the edge, okay? And what I mean by that is when I walk in and I see a 12-pack of Diet Coke, Sprite, Coke, whatever, $8 for a 12-pack, $7 for a jar of Skippy peanut butter, that is absolutely nuts. And it's just me and Jess for now, right? Mm-hmm. Our groceries aren't that high. And she's vegetarian and I'm 80% vegetarian, right? I don't buy meat to make extra. Like, we make the same meals and I'm basically vegetarian. If we go out to a restaurant or if we're grilling, I'll have burgers or a steak, right? So meat is especially expensive.
Right?
But with that out of the picture and us not getting meat, how are our groceries still that high? I can't imagine being a single parent raising 2 or 3 kids that are growing like weeds and constantly, and one likes one thing and another likes another. Like, how do you afford that? It's absolutely crazy.
Well, because companies just upcharge everything nowadays, right? And sure, I wasn't looking at prices before. I still don't really look at prices, but I do look at things now more because I just want to see the difference from before till now. And I check more so based on value now, okay? I'll go and I'll walk on a shelf and then I'll see like a pack of like 6 Belvita crackers or whatever they are. And I'm like, okay, there's 6 of them and it's $7. I'm like, I don't know. This seems like a ripoff to me. Sometimes you see it for $8 or something like that. So now I look at that and I'm just like, geez, that's like, why would I be paying $8 for this many crackers or something like that, where you could, for $8, you could get something else and be completely satisfied with it. So like, I look at it from that point. I guess it's just like a value standpoint where it's like, you're being ripped off. I'm not paying for that, you know?
I feel like everything should be value-based.
It should.
When it comes to groceries, right?
But I feel like it was 4 years ago, at least more so than it is now, right? Sure, there were things that were a little bit overpriced, and you're like, okay, I'm still willing to pay that. But now it crossed that line where it's just like, this is just dumb, like you're not going to pay for that because sure, maybe, their supply chains have been affected. So now jacking up the prices to whatever because they know certain people are still going to buy it, right?
Right.
And that's where I see the problem. I'm not one of those people that I am going to buy it because they just want to charge whatever they want to charge, right? And you could definitely see a lot of it, across everything where things are just through the roof because people want to charge whatever they want to charge because there's only so much of it. But not only that, but you can see that, and we were talking about this earlier, that not only are they charging whatever they want to charge, but the quality of everything has gone down, right? Because, again, it's because of the supply chains that have been effective. So they still just want to sell this, whatever they were selling before, but they can't keep the quality the same because, sure, hiring people may be an issue, shipping may be an issue because every industry has been affected. So they're just trying to provide a worse product for a way higher price. So now you're like, what the hell?
Well, and the biggest thing I feel like as of recent in memory with COVID, they saw because of the supply chain issues, things went up, right? In price. But at the same time, people weren't making money, but they were still paying for stuff, right? It was a lot credit cards. I know the stimulus helped stuff, but I feel like these big box corporations were seeing, well, the prices went up. People were still paying because obviously you have to eat, but the money wasn't necessarily coming in for everybody, right? Because people were laid off and the shutdowns and stuff like that. So in my eyes, when they're like, oh, it's just because of the supply chain issues, it'll go back down. At this point, bullshit. They see that we've been paying these prices, and we're not necessarily, nobody's okay with paying these prices, but we're forced into being okay with these prices,
right?
Because we have to survive.
That's the big problem.
And when junk food costs a quarter of the price of organic and healthy stuff, no wonder everybody or a lot of the country is sick, overweight, and all these issues because you gotta
it always
pay for
comes
what
down
you
to
can
money,
afford.
right?
Yeah.
Like what you can afford, and if that's what you can afford, that's what you're going to buy. So yeah, that makes sense. And companies are very greedy, right? Especially with the inflated numbers the last 2-3 years. They see that, okay, their profits were this high, their revenue were this high. Are they willing to have it drop the next year? Of course not. So they're trying to keep it, especially with investors. If people have investors, that's where it's like they don't want to see the profits go down. They don't want to see revenue go down. So they're like, as long as people can afford it, we're going to keep it as high as possible. But see, slowly, though, they are being forced to reduce these prices because I've already seen it in the last couple of months. And that this is where it gets tricky. They don't want to reduce the price, so they're using coupons, right? Because 1 month, people might not have money. Next month, they might. So they don't necessarily want to reduce the price because now they got to bump it up. But they can do a coupon every month, right? Or every other month when it's convenient for them. So you see, like when you go to a grocery store, like I see so many things coupon-based or sales that they write it in there temporarily, blah, 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 just to get this product out and sold because people are running out of money, Credit card debt.
Right.
It's never been as high as it is now,
right?
Because everybody's just trying to survive because of the prices and how high they are. So I don't think it's very hard to tell if it's going to last like this, if they're going to drop prices because, they're greedy. So like people are going to start saving money, right? People are going back to jobs now because they're forced to.
Second job, third job.
So they're going to slowly start to save money. And they're going to have money again, right? So it might be the 2-3 years where you're not going to have any money, but eventually it's just like a cycle. This happens all the time. I don't know if it's ever happened to the level it happened recently, but it always happens, right? There's always something that happens. In 2008, there was the housing market, right? Where it was kind of the same thing, but maybe not as this severe. So it's a cycle. Then people start to save money again, which they will. And then during that time, what will companies choose to do? Are they going to actually choose to lower prices during that time? Are they going to keep it the same? That I don't know if anybody knows the answer to that, right?
Well, and there's also, we talked about it earlier too, with how we kind of, in growing up with our parents, whoever went shopping, whether it was mom or dad, we kind of poked fun at like, and got a little irritated if we were going with, right? Like, well, we have 4 stops. We're going to 4 different stores because we're going to get fruits and vegetables at one. We're going to get house supplies at another. We're going to get, this here and that. Like, the time and gas that was spent going to all these different stores back then,
Mm-hmm.
we were like, what are you doing? It's just get it from one store, right? And now looking back then, it made sense that you could have pulled that off. From what you spent in gas and time driving around, you could have maybe spent a little bit more.
Time, a little more gas.
Well, I'm saying reverse, like just buy it all in one store, or maybe
okay.
2 instead of 3 or 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm seeing myself doing that because it's
Cheaper.
It is cheaper. Like, yeah, it does cost more in gas to drive places, and it is inconvenient to
Well,
go to
especially
these
if you live in the
places,
city where
and
it takes an
especially-
hour to go a couple blocks.
Sure. But you know what's also an inconvenience? My wallet getting absolutely destroyed for no reason when one store is charging $5 for tomatoes when the store a half mile down is $3.50 or
Right.
$2.50.
And it adds up in the
Right.
month.
And it's like, why are we like that? Like, why? What? It's become really bad. I feel like another part of it is with AI and, express lane checkout lanes with, self checkout. You don't have as many people working. So now it's minimum wage is going up, and people are like, well, if minimum wage is going up, everything else is going up. So yeah, I see that too. But it's like, at what point are we going to be like, enough is enough? Why? How can we pay me and Jess $500, $600 a month in groceries for 2 people?
I mean, enough is enough. I don't know if who's going to say enough is enough, because people, they are not going to tell a company to lower their prices. They're never going to lower their prices. The only way would be for you to stop shopping and everybody else stop shopping at that store, which we know is most likely never going to happen. So companies in control, and they keep the prices very high. So I don't think there is a solution unless company says, okay, we're going to drop prices, or by force, people have no money, right? And then prices drop. But then the moment people do have money, they go back up again. So I don't know. I feel like at this point, it's just going to be where it is. And I don't think it's ever coming back down.
I don't see prices going back down. No.
Right.
I see them being here or continuing to go up. And it's like almost, I don't want to say almost all the time, but I catch myself thinking like, I feel like I should just shop at Costco for everything. Everything I need, I should get it. But living in an apartment in the city for 2 people, like what I would buy at Costco versus what I would buy at, like, let's say Mariano's and Target and like one other store, I'm going to get more obviously at Costco because of it being bulk, but I feel like I'm going to pay the same amount. The only thing is are we going to go through that all, or is some of it going to go to waste? Like, yeah, we do get more, but now we don't want to contribute to
Always goes to waste, I
wasting
think.
food and
Right.
stuff like that. So like, yeah, it sucks because we'll pay the same going to other stores and getting less amount, but we'll at least go through it.
I mean, yeah, I guess you could always donate the leftovers or something, right? So I'd rather get more and deal with the leftovers somehow,
Yeah.
right?
And it's now being, you got to be strategic about it, right? Like Costco, I go specifically for things like soda.
Exactly.
If I want soda, right,
It
then
doesn't expire anytime soon.
I could get a big 36 pack of Coke or Diet Coke, Sprite, whatever. I think it's like $10. Where a third of it, 12 cans at Target, $8.
You were telling me toothpaste or body wash or something that's huge.
Yeah, toothpaste, five containers of Crest 3D White, $12. One smaller tube, not the smallest, but a smaller, medium-sized tube at any of these stores, $7-8. Body wash, a 3-pack of the big ones of Dove, and I get the like moisture, whatever that me and Jess both use, right? It's something that it's not like I have a scented one that's for men and she's got one for women. It's like at this point we're buying stuff that we both can use, right? That's $10 for 3. Same thing. Go to Target, one that's a little bit smaller, $7-8. Toilet paper, paper towel, laundry detergent. Main things that we buy in bulk that's going to last 3 months,
Right.
4 months, we get it there.
So you have to be strategic about it, right? That's the key.
Yeah.
And I completely understand that because like we were saying earlier, I never check prices. Well, that kind of led to buying a lot of stuff in wrong places, right? We would go to Jewel and overpay in groceries by so much because I would just go in, okay, get everything here. Then later, like recently, I realized, wow, you could get this for so much cheaper if you shop somewhere else, right? And that's crazy because it's like if you don't look into it, you will be paying so much money every single week for many, many years, which will all add up. I mean, at this point, it's thousands of dollars if you calculate the last 5 years doing that probably, right?
Right.
So I think, yeah, you have to be strategic about it. And that's not just now, that's been always, right?
Sure.
But I mean, I think so going back to, do we think that pricing will go down? I actually do think there is one way that pricing will go down, and that this is why competition, I think, is always good because it keeps prices in check. If there's no competition, new competition, people can always just charge whatever they want. But if you know the competition is coming in, and this is kind of to encourage new entrepreneurs and stuff to go into these fields, into these industries, and take opportunities like this, especially now with prices of things being so high, you should go into certain industries and figure out, how can I deliver bread cheaper? You know, how can I deliver body wash cheaper? Because this is your in right now, you know, because if you start to get big, because people start to move from the huge brands over to you because you're half the price, right? This is how you get those loyal customers to move over, and this is how you get the big companies to start dropping their price. This is the absolute only way I see that those companies start to actually start dropping prices. If not for that, I don't think it's ever going to happen because they have control. And on top of it, you also have to be like, I am not in this for money. You know, like you have to come in from a perspective where I'm not only in this for money, I'm here to make a change. Because if you're just in it for money, sure, you're going to quickly get your brand, you know, you're going to charge half of what the competition is charging. But then one of those big guys is going to come to you and be like, I'm going to buy you out, crank up the prices right back up, right? And you're kind of in a loop. So you have to be in a good human being, like we like to call it, and be like, no, I'm not letting you buy me out because I know what you're going to do, you know?
But that's the thing. When they know that you are a good human, and you got morals, you got to be very strong-willed because there's always a dollar amount.
Always,
and that's
almost
the
always.
thing. The person who's the big guy trying to buy you out, they'll start with a big number, but if it's not enough to entice you to sell, it's just going to keep going up, 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 or they're going to figure out how to do it exactly the way you do it and just get rid of you and undercut you, right?
Yeah, but I mean, will they do that? I don't know, because their goal is to clearly have, I'm talking price-wise, like they just want to charge as much, and if people are buying from them, then they probably won't. But I don't know, in that scenario, maybe they would match it for a little bit, but I don't think they even have to. I'm not sure, you know?
See, I don't know everything about the guy who runs Costco and started Costco and stuff like that, but there are a couple stories, like the hot dog, right? Hot dog's been $1.50 with a fountain drink for forever. And I guess during a board meeting, they're like, well, we got to raise prices, this, that. And he goes, if you raise the price of my fucking hot dog, you're all gone. And he was adamant. And that is still to this day $1.50, right? And with the chickens, the whole story about why his chickens are $5, right? Super inexpensive for a $5 rotisserie chicken.
Yeah.
It's in the back of the store. And the highest ticketed items, the electronics, the TVs, the jewelry, right up front where you're passing it. You got to walk through the whole damn store to get to those chickens, right?
Yeah.
At one point, there was a shortage of chickens. He couldn't get chickens fast enough. So now he raises his own chickens.
Oh, really? I didn't know
Raises
that.
his
That's
own
interesting.
chickens. And what he got another benefit out of that is that now instead of just raising the chickens so that they could become the food later for the $5 price,
Get the eggs?
you get the eggs. So now he gets eggs, so many eggs that he gets to sell for a lot less.
Yep.
So now you're coming for eggs and this $5 rotisserie chicken that you could have for dinner. You know, you buy two, you could have it for your whole family. You get your eggs. Now you're spending more time in there.
Yeah, it's all a strategy.
It's
play.
all a strategy.
Get them in the door with the hot dog, with the chickens, and they buy everything else.
And people will be like, well, you know, it's free to go to Trader Joe's, Aldi, Mariano's, Target, or whatever you got locally. Costco, Sam's, that's $60 a year. Okay, but within your first purchase, whatever you're buying, I can almost guarantee you're going to save that $60 versus going somewhere else. Right?
Yeah, because they are competitive with their pricing. Very,
Super.
Right?
Super.
Much cheaper to buy from them. And that's good. That's why I don't think those businesses are ever going to struggle, because I think as a consumer, you almost always, for 99% of people, they look at price first, you know?
Right.
So that's key. We need more people like that.
And less selling to big box corporations, because there's we'll have to find the graphic to put this in the clip, but it's like 6 corporations own all food and like drinks and stuff.
Yeah, they own everything.
They own everything.
Well, that's why I'm telling you, the only
So
way
it's
to
like-
solve that is to have individual guys never selling to these people.
Right. You walk into a grocery store, 1 of 6 companies own probably 95% of the damn store.
Yep, and they
How is that? That's insanity.
yeah,
that's
I mean,
insanity.
They have government regulations for that. It's not supposed to happen, but
Yeah,
clearly,
sure.
you know,
Loopholes.
it happens. So, yeah, that's the whole issue, and you know, that's why I don't think prices are going to go down unless someone starts doing it that way as a good human being and says, okay, because the profit margins these guys make on these products are insane. It's not like they're not making profit, you know, it's just how much profit are they, you know, willing to sacrifice to help everybody else that's struggling. You know, businesses and like you go into business to make money, right? So most companies at that level, they don't care. They just want to beat the next business, right?
It's a rush.
It's a rush. So we need some new entrepreneurs right now to step it up, get some new products in, and start selling it for way cheaper. And I see that this is such a huge opportunity because this is one way you're going to be the next thing, you know, compete on price. I guarantee you in this time, like you are going to get a lot of loyal people that buy, you know, Dove soap, whatever, to come and switch to you because you have a way better price.
Yeah, and it's also obviously got to be ethically
Oh yeah, of course.
and
You got to make sure the product is good. The value can't be, you know, devalued or whatever, however you want to put it. You can't be putting ingredients in there that is, you know, going to ruin your skin or your health long term. It has to be a good quality product. Just you have to be willing to sacrifice profits. And the profits is still there to be made. It just you can't make as much as Dove or, you know, Pepsi is willing to make on their profit margins. You have to say, I'm willing to make a lot less. And that's how we're going to win long term.
right. I wonder if everybody in the U.S. had their own chicken. Everybody gets their own chicken, and you get your own eggs, right? I mean, how much money are you? Everybody eats eggs. There's a small percentage. Like everybody gets their own chicken. Come on, that'd be awesome. You also get a house pet, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, I'm being a little.
Well, if you go on a little farm
Overdramatic.
somewhere further out where you have, you know, people raising this stuff, me as a neighbor, I might not raise chickens, but my neighbor might. I guarantee you they are getting those eggs or whatever for so cheap, you know, because they obviously don't have to mark it up because this middleman is involved, the next middleman is involved, and the company has to make money. Sure, those things are there, but, you know, like this company wants to make this much. So even though they could make this much, they're like, no, I'm going to charge this much. Then the next guy could also make this much, but they're going to be like, no, I want to make this much. And then the store says the same thing. I can make this much, but I want to make this much. And then all those people involved, you know, that could literally make the price so much smaller, they won't because of greed. And that's where you get these prices. So that's another solution. Go to the guy further out and buy chickens from them directly. But then again, that takes time, right?
No, this is the number one best solution. It's just if you don't have the space, grow it yourself. All your veggies, at least lettuce, anything that you could grow, start your own garden. You know, learn about it, and then it will be organic because you know where it came from.
It'll be better and way cheaper.
Way cheaper. You know, my dad grows some stuff in the city. He's got like a garden in his backyard.
I think now everybody I know has their own garden. That's
You
older,
have to.
you know?
You have. I think that is the best way to save money because if you can have one chicken that gives you eggs, and then you grow your own fruits and vegetables in the backyard, there's a lot less things that you're going to go out and buy.
I mean, the people that I know that do this, I don't think like most of them do it for the money. I think it's just the quality of the product. They know it's not like sprayed with BS that's going to kill you and stuff like that. So, I mean, yeah, overall, that's always the better option.
Either way, if you want to look at it health-wise and not money-wise, grow a garden. If you want to save money, grow a garden.
There you go. And that, I would say, would be what you have to do because prices are not going to go down. I don't think, you know, I think it's always going to go in a loop. Competition might be, you know, coming in, betting on the price. But most people, like you said, there's always a, you know, money, a dollar sign that people are willing to take. They are going to sell it to the big competitor. They're going to mark it up. It's going to be a loop. Prices are never going to go down. And yeah, you just have to always strategically think what you're going to do with your shopping and go about it this way.
Absolutely.